Ancient methods of water conservation.
Water, as we have learned, is vital for human life. It is important for the sustenance, development, and growth of civilization. Life without water is unimaginable. Over the years, these rising populations, growing industrialization, and expanding agriculture have pushed up the demand for water. Efforts have been made to collect water by building dams and reservoirs and digging wells. Many countries have also tried to recycle and desalinate water. Water conservation today has become the need of the day. In the forests, water seeps gently into the ground as vegetation breaks the fall. This groundwater in turn feeds wells, lakes, and rivers. Thus, protecting forests means protecting water catchments. In ancient India, the people believed that forests were the mothers of rivers and hence worshipped the sources of all these water bodies. Even in the ancient times, people knew the importance of water and used various methods to conserve this very valuable natural resource. India. On the northwest are the Hindu Kush, on the east are the Himalayas, the tallest mountains of the world. The two main rivers of ancient India were Indus and Ganges. Over the centuries, both these rivers created great fertile plains in the north of India. It was these valleys that India's first civilizations arose, and historically the people who lived here dominated the rest of the country. The Indus Valley civilization that flourished along the banks of the river Indus and other parts of western and northern India about 5,000 years ago had one of the most sophisticated urban water supply and sewage systems of the world. The fact that the people were well acquainted with hygiene can be seen from the covered drains running beneath the streets and the ruins at both Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. Of this, Mohenjo-daro has citadels which had offices for administering the town. Near these citadels, there were large baths resembling a swimming pool. Builders used asphalt between bricks to make the pool watertight. In Harappa, there was a water storage system of a magnificent scale. The people here stored water in the form of rain and runoff. The functional need for the inhabitants of this city to provide a guaranteed year-long supply of water was great. As one part of the water harvesting system, a castle was built with network of connected drains and catchment surfaces. These collected rainwater and moved it to two interconnected chambers of stone. The inhabitants built many reservoirs of varying sizes around the castle. Another very good example is the well-planned city of Dholavira on Khadir Bait, a low plateau in the Rann of Gujarat. One of the oldest water harvesting systems is found about 130 kilometers from Pune, along Nane Ghat in the Western Ghats. A large number of tanks were cut in the rocks to provide drinking water to tradesmen who used to travel along this ancient trade route. Each fort in the area has its own water harvesting and storage system in the form of rock-cut cisterns, ponds, tanks and wells that are still in use even today. A large number of forts like Raigad have tanks that supplied water. In ancient times, houses in parts of western Rajasthan were built so that each had a rooftop water harvesting system. Rainwater from these rooftops was directed into underground tanks. This system can be seen even today in all the forts, palaces and houses of the region. Underground baked earthen pipes and tunnels to maintain the flow of water and to transport it to distant places are still functional at Burhanpur in Madhya Pradesh, Golconda and Bijapur in Karnataka, and Aurangabad in Maharashtra. In 1336 AD, Maharaval Ghadasi, the king of Jaisalmer, made a huge pond known as Ghadisar. Other kings made ponds too. All around the lake, there were ghats with steps leading to the water, decorated verandas, large halls, and much more. People came here to celebrate festivals and for music and dance programs. Children came to study in the school at the Ghat, and this lake belonged to everyone and everyone took care to keep it clean. Rainwater collected in this lake spread over 7 miles. It was made in such a way that when Ghadisar was full, the extra water flowed into another lake, Nautal, at a lower level. When that too filled up, the extra water flowed into a third lake, Sovinsar, and so on, filling 9 such interconnected lakes, namely Ghadisar, Nautal, Sovinsar, Joshisar, Gulabsar, Bhatisar, Sodasar, Notasar, Ratnasar, and Kisanghat. The collected rainwater could be used throughout the year and there was no shortage of water. and if water still flowed after filling all these ponds, it was stored in small wells. Today, this lake is not in use. Many new buildings and colonies have come up in between these 9 lakes. Now the water does not get collected in these lakes but just flows away and is wasted. The early civilizations of Mesopotamia lay between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, a region which is a part of modern Iraq. They cut through the river banks so that water for their crops could flow to lower lying soils. These irrigation systems were developed by the Sumerians in Mesopotamia, who drained marshes and dug canals, dikes, and ditches. The ancient settlements of Mexico and Central America are known as Mesoamerica. During this period, many of the people began to cultivate wild plants. The mighty Nile in Egypt, once 4,100 miles long, carried a much larger volume of water than it does today. In ancient times, during the annual summer flood, the Nile rose 25 to 26 feet, covering the land with fertile mud. Much of the water remained in natural pools along the Nile. Planting took place in October when the Nile was low. The ground was still moist and plowing was easy. As the growing season progressed, officials decided when and how much water should be released from the reservoirs built to conserve water during the summer months. Time and again in various eras, there have been different methods in which water has been conserved, as people were aware of the importance of water from ancient times. In different eras, there were different methods used to conserve water. Some of the ancient water conservation mechanisms we have learnt is constructing wells, underground tanks, ponds and dams, rainwater harvesting, underground earthen pipes and tunnels, groundwater conservation, citadels and baths.